Be me. 30, male, accountant, professional spreadsheet, NPC. Live in mid-sized town, Riverton. Spend most of my free time on Reddit and YouTube. Rants about family court. Personality. Chronically online, low-key bitter. Think I'm rational, logical, red-pilled about the system. Actually just scared of conflict and call it stoicism. My parents divorced when I was 12. Watched dad get absolutely cooked in court. Child support, lost the house, visitation schedule. That made no sense. He cried once on the phone. I hung up. Told my friends he was a deadbeat. Repeated courts always favor women, like a mantra. Never read a single document. Never went with him to a single hearing. Fast forward. Now I'm the one getting divorced. Mary Claire, 29, female, marketing, hypersocial, hot, always knows where the camera is. Relationship started fun. Ends with me sleeping on anxiety and her sleeping with her coworker. Find texts on her iPad. I feel so seen with you. He's just emotionally flat, like a calculator with legs. Calculator with legs is paying for your car, but go off. Confront her. Me. How long has this been going on? Her. Don't be dramatic. We've been done for a while. She says we, like I got the memo. Her mom, Teresa, hates me. Calls me too passive. Also calls me controlling when I ask about money. Schrodinger's husband. Divorce papers show up. She wants condo, car, majority of savings, spousal support until she's stable. She makes more than me. My first instinct, of course, men never win, just sign and survive. Same script as with my dad. Blame the court before even stepping into it. Call it rigged instead of I'm terrified of fighting back. My friend Josh, dude, you can contest this. You're not powerless. Me, it's pointless. The judge will just side with her anyway. Translation, I'd rather be a victim than responsible. Then one night, scrolling Insta, see Claire's private story I'm apparently still on. Boomerang of wine glasses. Caption, manifesting a clean break and keeping my condo LOL. Her friend replies, girl, he's too soft to fight you on anything. She reacts with crying laughing emojis. Something snaps. Not courage, pettiness. Remember, I do our taxes. I've seen numbers that don't match. Brand collabs income. Consulting expenses that look a lot like trips with coworker. Little transfers to an account I never knew existed. Open laptop. Old me would doom scroll. New me opens Excel. Petty accountant arc unlocked. Spend nights digging through statements. Cross-reference dates with her Instagram posts. Work trip to Lisbon lines up perfectly with consulting expense charged to our joint card. She tagged the hotel. Thanks, influencer brain. Print everything. Bank statements, invoices, her emails she never logged out of. Highlight every line that smells like fraud or marital money funding her side. Quest boyfriend. Build timelines, color-coded tabs. Looks like a murder board, but for tax evasion. My lawyer Mia, a sharp woman in her 30s, flips through the binder. You did all this? Me. Yeah, I thought it wouldn't matter. Her. Oh, this matters. She asks if I want to file anything formally. We can send this ahead to the judge, under seal. Brain, court bad, judge bad, system bad, give up. Pettiness, submit the binder. Day of hearing. Riverton County Courthouse. Big stone building, smells like paper and regret. Stomach feels like Excel just crashed without saving. Claire shows up, new haircut, white blazer, sympathy face she uses for Instagram reels. Sits with her lawyer, Evan, expensive, smug. Teresa behind them, pearls locked and loaded. Evan leans over to me before the hearing. Look, Liam, there's no reason to make this adversarial. Judges don't like men who fight dirty. Best to be reasonable. Translation, lie down and die politely. Teresa mutters just loud enough. Some men just can't accept their failures. Sit at my table with Mia, hands shaking. Stare at the front of the room, then she walks in. Judge Rowan Hale, early 40s. Tall, dark hair, pinned up, no nonsense as Black robe, simple silver necklace. Looks like she hasn't had a slow morning in 10 years. Brain immediately. Oh great, career woman judge, definitely hates men. This is done. Zero data, 100% projection. Literally know nothing about her except woman in authority. Use her as a canvas for my dad's story. She sits, adjusts her glasses. Voice calm, deep, controlled. Calls the case. Clerk shuffle papers. One of them hands her a sealed envelope. My handwriting. Heart drops into my shoes. She opens it. Reads the first page. Pause. She laughs. Short, surprised bark of laughter. Entire courtroom freezes. Claire stiffens. Evan looks mildly offended. Teresa clutches her pearls like she's absorbing damage. Judge Rowan tilts her head, looks up at Claire's table. Well, this is unexpected. Brain racing. Did I mess up? Did she think my spreadsheets were cringe? She clears her throat. Before we proceed with the requested orders, we need to address some new financial documentation from Mr. Parker. That's me. I'm now officially part of the plot. Evan stands. Your Honor, we were unaware of any additional documents being submitted. Rowan, that was the point. There's a tiny edge of humor in her voice. Terrifying in a hot way. Shut up, Bren. Mia nods at me. Go on. Rowan looks over. Mr. Parker, would you summarize what you've provided? Heart doing drum solo. Voice comes out higher than my dignity likes. Yes, Your Honor. It's a compiled analysis of our joint accounts, my wife's business income, tax returns, and transfers to undisclosed accounts. All cross-referenced with her declared income and expense statements. Translation: she's been hiding money and using ours to fund affairs and vacations. Rowan flips through the binder, eyes skimming, sharp. Her eyebrows rise slowly, like a graph labeled Claire's Bad Decisions. She taps one page. You match these charges with her public social media posts? Me. Yes, Your Honor. Her. Down to the date and location tags? Location tags? Me. And timestamps. Her mouth twitches. Meticulous. I die a little, but in a good way. Evan starts damage control. Your Honor, we believe this is an overinterpretation of standard business practices. My client's influencer work often... Rowan raises a hand, doesn't raise her voice. Room goes dead silent. Mr. Lewis, the pattern here is not subtle, she says. We have underreported income, mischaracterized personal expenses as business deductions, and marital funds diverted to accounts your client did not disclose in her financial affidavit. Evan, if we could have a continuance to... Rowan, to explain why there are payments for a Lisbon consulting trip charged to a joint card while Ms. Carter was publicly posting vacation pictures with a reported co-worker? Claire goes pale. The co-worker literally visible in the Instagram screenshots taped in my binder? Thank you. Oversharing culture. Teresa whispers, Claire? Claire hisses back, I told you he wouldn't do anything. Rowan keeps going. Additionally, the proposed division of assets from Ms. Carter's side assumes Mr. Parker has had equal access and knowledge of these funds, which your own documentation disproves. Something weird happens in my head. For years I've been saying judges don't care about men. And here's a judge dissecting numbers like she cares more than I do. Rowan looks at me again. Mr. Parker, did anyone assist you with this analysis? No, Your Honor, I'm an accountant. I suspected as much. There's a split second where she looks almost proud. I don't know what to do with that. Ruling for the day. Claire's proposed asset grab? Absolutely nuked. Hidden funds classified as marital. Order for forensic accountant to verify, basically just validating my work. Temporary control of joint finances removed from Claire, shared oversight with accountability. Not a rescue fantasy. Not me winning everything. Just fair. Aggressively fair. Rowan ends with, this court takes financial deception seriously, regardless of gender. Mr. Parker, your diligence helped us see a clearer picture. Many don't realize they're allowed to document truth like this. Line hits in a weird place. Think of my dad immediately. Him never bringing documents, never understanding the forms, telling me, doesn't matter, they've already decided. Me believing him, me never asking if he needed help. Hearing adjourned. Gavel hits. X's side leaves in silence. No more smug. My legs feel like jelly. Mia claps my shoulder. You did good, she says. Shrug it off, mumble. Court still sucks, though. Because God forbid I admit my worldview might need an update. Months pass. More hearings, more paperwork. Claire's halo slips publicly. Settlement ends up reasonable. I don't get everything. But I don't get obliterated either. I also don't get custody battles, kids, or alimony drama. Just freedom and a very expensive education in read what you sign. Start going to therapy because Mia threatened to bill me double if I didn't. Therapist. You talk about the system like it's a single person who personally hurt you. Me. Well, it kinda... Cov did. Her. Or your parents did. And you aimed at the court because you couldn't aim at them. Uncomfortable silence.mp3. Try to fix things with my dad. Call him more. Listen when he talks about how confused he was back then. Realizes he never had a Mia or the ability to build a binder. Realizes I never offered. One Saturday, months after everything is finalized, decide to change coffee shops. Small personal growth, I guess. Walk into this little place near the courthouse. Smell of espresso and people pretending to write novels. See a familiar profile in the corner. Judge Rowan. No robe, no bench, dark jeans, simple blouse, hair down in waves. Reading a hardcover, glasses low on her nose. Looks 10% softer, 90% more dangerous. Brain, bail. Legs, we're doing this, apparently. Awkwardly approach. Your Honor? She looks up, surprised, then amused. Mr. Parker, she says. I die that she remembers my name. Didn't mean to bother you, I say. Just wanted to say, thanks, I guess, for not letting me get steamrolled. She closes the book with a finger between the pages. You weren't steamrolled, Liam, she says. Brain short circuits at first name usage. You came in prepared, most people don't. Stand there like a lamppost. She tilts her head slightly. I'm off the bench right now. You can just call me Rowan. Sit down when she gestures to the chair across. We talk about everything except the case. Favorite coffee orders, weirdest lawyer arguments she's heard, without names, my job, her hatred of badly constructed spreadsheets. At some point I joke, you know, I used to say courts hate men. She raises an eyebrow. Used to? Yeah, I say. Now I say they hate bad documentation. She laughs. It's a real laugh, not the courtroom one. That's more accurate, she says, though some of us try very hard to see past the mess. Ask her how she does it, listening to people fall apart for a living. She shrugs. I file my feelings in boxes I don't always open, she says. Joke about that being unhealthy. She says, I never said it was healthy. Little crack in the marble. We keep bumping into each other there. Pretty sure we're both timing it at some point. Comment on her book choices. She drags my taste in podcasts. One day she asks, do you always assume every system is against you? I freeze. Only the important ones. She looks at me over her coffee. Sometimes it's easier to blame the system than admit we didn't show up for ourselves. Feel personally audited. After my case is fully done. Appeal window closed, everything stamped and dead. We're at the coffee shop again. She's visibly nervous for the first time. Just to be very clear, she says, your file is closed. I have no legal tie to you, no ongoing power imbalance, no ethical strings. I blink. Okay. She takes a breath. In that context, she says slowly, would you like to get dinner sometime? Brain, blue screen. Mouth, yes, yeah, definitely. 100% yes. She smiles, a little shy. Good. I was worried you'd say no and then I'd have to move courts. First date. Neutral territory restaurant. Real clothes, no robes, no suits. I show up too early. She shows up exactly on time. She looks human. Talk flows easy. Joke about how weird our meet cute is. I literally watched you destroy my ex's financial illusions, I say. Romantic, she deadpans. Next time I'll add rose petals to the evidence. Underneath the banter, there's serious stuff. She tells me about her early career, public defender days, clients nobody believed. I saw a lot of men walk in expecting the system to hate them, she says. Some were right. Some just never had anyone teach them how to advocate for themselves. I tell her about my dad, about how I repeated it's rigged without once opening a file. I chose to be ignorant, I say, then blamed everyone else when ignorance hurt. She doesn't say I told you so, just touches my hand for half a second. You didn't know, she says. Now you do, so what do you do with that? We keep seeing each other, slow dating, because we're both anxious about optics and ethics. She checks every rule twice. I check every feeling 4 times. First time we kiss. On her couch, movie paused, popcorn forgotten. She hesitates for a second. If you're not sure, she starts. I am, I say. For once in my life, I read the terms and conditions. She laughs into the kiss. Eventually, one night blends into morning. Things fade to black at an appropriate moment. Consent explicit, feelings messy but good. Next few months feel alien. I'm dating someone who actually listens, who calls me on my bullshit but doesn't weaponize it, who sits in silence with me without trying to fix me or be fixed. I start catching myself online. Almost type courts don't care about men. Delete it. Replace with, if you're going to court, bring receipts and a backbone. Get fewer likes. Feel weirdly more honest. Then one day, I notice Rowan's been different. Little more distracted. Triple checking her calendar. Says she's just tired. I know that line too well now. Sunday morning, her kitchen. Sun streaming through the window. She puts a small envelope on the table. I was going to rehearse this, she says. But that felt weird. Brain immediately spins up worst-case scenarios. She's sick. She's leaving the bench. She's leaving me. I open the envelope. Inside, lab result. And a small ultrasound picture. Feels like the room tilts. Words on paper. Pregnant. Estimated 8 weeks. I'm silent so long she fills the void. I double-checked the dates, she says. It's you, definitely you. Small, nervous smile. Didn't think this was in the cards for me anymore. I'm 41, Liam. Childhood flashback speedrun. Dad's face when he lost judgment. His cracked voice saying, they took everything. Me thinking I'll never have kids, I'll never risk it. Me telling friends, no way I'm bringing a kid into this system. I realize I've been living like that since I was 12, letting fear of a courtroom dictate my entire life plan. Rowan keeps talking, words stumbling. Look, I know this is a lot. You get a say. I don't want you to feel trapped. If this isn't something you want, we can... I put my hand over hers. Voice comes out steadier than I feel. I want this, I say. She blinks. You do? I'm terrified, I admit. But I want this, with you. Her shoulders drop, like she'd been holding up the roof. Eyes shine. I had this whole speech ready, she says, about how judges make terrible parents because we're always weighing outcomes. Good, I say, because I had a whole speech about how divorce ruined me forever. I like this version better. We talk logistics, ethics, gossip, fear. She's worried about perception. They'll say you slept with a judge and got a good deal, she says. They'll say I broke impartiality. Remember all the times I've said that about other men online. Of course he won. He had a female judge. Typed it like a joke. Never thought about the real human on the bench. I wince. I used to tweet stuff like that, I confess. About judges, about women in power, sounded edgy, just lazy. She squeezes my hand. You're allowed to grow, she says. I just need you to be ready for people who won't let you. Pregnancy is intense. She's nauseous, exhausted, still working. Colleagues side-eye her when they find out who the father is. We become the courthouse rumor of the month. Claire hears eventually, sends one text. So you knocked up the judge who took my money. Classy. I stare at it. Think about sending a paragraph. Delete. Reply, we both made choices. Block. My dad calls. I tell him he's going to be a grandpa. He laughs, then cries. Don't let court scare you away this time, he says. It's not always the enemy. We go to appointments, waiting rooms full of other couples. Rowan reads medical journals. I Google how to change a diaper like it's rocket science. 1. Ultrasound. Tech turns the screen. Tiny shape, flickering heartbeat. Rowan's hand crushes mine, tears in her eyes. I'm gone. Later that night, sitting on her couch, her head on my shoulder, I admit, I always swore I'd never do this, have kids, risk losing them. She asks softly, what changed? Look at her. Think of my dad's empty hands. Think of my binder on her bench. Think of our tiny alien on the screen. I stopped treating fear like a personality trait, I say. And I met a judge who made court feel less like a firing squad and more like a really intense math test. She snorts. Romantic, she says. Put that on our baby announcement. Months pass. She goes on maternity leave. Courthouse throws a small party. Staff gift her a baby onesie that says, objection overruled, it's bedtime. I melt. People talk. Some supportive, some not. One local Facebook warrior writes a whole post about corrupt judges having affairs with litigants. Our situation boiled down to a conspiracy theory in 400 rage-typed words. For once, I don't jump into the comments. Just screenshot it. Show Rowan. They don't know you, I say. They don't know me. They only know the story that makes them feel righteous. Realize exactly I'm just could be and say Baby day. Water breaks at 3 a.m. in the most cliché way possible. Hell speedrun begins. Hospital, monitors, yelling, panic, ice chips. Rowan swearing like a sailor between contractions. Me offering the worst encouragements known to man. Hours later, small, furious, loud human enters the chat. Nurse hands me the baby. Everything else gets quiet. I start crying in a way I didn't know I could. Look at Rowan. Sweaty, exhausted, glowing in a way Instagram filters can't fake. She smiles weakly. Well, Mr. Parker, she says, how do you feel about the system now? Think about it. About my dad. About the courtroom where we met. About all the nights I blamed the system instead of showing up. About the judge who read my letter and laughed because the truth was finally visible. Look at our baby. Look at her. I think it's full of broken people and scared people, I say slowly, and a few stubborn ones who keep trying to make it fair anyway. She reaches for my hand. Squeezes. Stubborn we can do, she says. Later, when it's just us three, Baby asleep in the plastic crib. Artificial hospital light buzzing quietly. I sit there holding Rowan's hand and watching our kid breathe. Think of my old script. Marriage is a trap. Court is a scam. Kids are a liability. Think of this moment, of us choosing this anyway. Be me, ex-husband of a cheating influencer, former system is rigged guy, accountant who built a binder out of spite, also partner to a tired, brilliant former divorce judge, father to a tiny person who will one day hate vegetables, man who finally, actually, showed up. Turns out the court wasn't the villain in my story. It was just the place where I ran out of excuses. And somewhere between my ex's fraud and my fear, I accidentally got the judge pregnant. Honestly, best clerical error of my life.